So first of all, thank you very much for inviting us here today from Denmark. And thank all of you sitting here, but also all of you sitting online and watching from your screen. So we're going to tell you a little bit about the insights that we used from Denmark, from Danish research on bullying, and how we turned it into a program that's being used widely in Denmark and also in 6 other countries. So first, just a brief introduction of who we are. So my name, as you heard, is Signe-Marie Bøgeskov, and I work with Save the Children Denmark. And Save the Children Denmark is part of Save the Children International, which is the world's largest independent child welfare organization. Save the Children fights for children's rights. In Denmark, we have an international department cooperating with organizations in parts of the world where children need to be protected from war and other catastrophes. The national department where I work primarily work with children's rights to be protected from poverty, violence, and other forms of violations, both digitally and physically. I work in the national department, and my work concentrates primarily on bullying among children.
Yeah, and as mentioned, my name is Sofie, and I'm from the Mary Foundation in Denmark. And the foundation was established by Her Majesty, the Queen of Denmark. And we strive for a society where everyone experiences a sense of belonging. And we try to combat bullying by initiating different programs, creating awareness, and creating knowledge around the issues that we work with. And we work with bullying, loneliness, as well as domestic violence. But today we're going to talk about our bullying work. And before we proceed to talk more about the specific program that we have been working with for over 16 years, we wanted to just tell you a bit more about our view on bullying, because this is really the base of what all we've been doing together in Save the Children Denmark and the Mary Foundation. And this research in Denmark on bullying has really helped us to look at what's going on with the new lens. So we want you to come with us on that journey. And then I need to do some change because of the technique. Sorry for that. But I will start by showing you this short video just explaining briefly the view on bullying that we work with.
From an outside perspective, it's easy to interpret bullying as a consequence of badly brought up children. It's also easy to assume that children are bullied because of something to do with their looks or personality. But in recent years, research has enlightened us about the actual mechanisms at work. And bullying is really not about the individual child. It's about the culture that exists within the groups of children themselves. We human beings have always needed each other, once just to survive, and now to feel safe and accepted. Social situations help shape who we are and define our identity. Being excluded from a group can therefore have devastating effects. Bullying ties in closely with our need to belong, to be part of a community. If we doubt whether we are accepted, whether we belong, we feel very uncomfortable. One way of easing the discomfort is to create another community, a new group, in which the ingredient that binds us together is bullying. In other words, bullying often sprouts from the fear of being the one left standing alone. In fragile and insecure communities, tolerance is low. Everyone keeps a watchful eye on everyone else, and the one who steps outside the box risks becoming the next victim. That's why many people become passive bystanders in the presence of bullying, despite recognizing the unfairness of what's happening. And then there are others who resort to bullying to avoid becoming a victim themselves. In other words, bullying isn't caused by individual children. Who will be the bully and who will be the victim is not always predictable. It depends on the children's group as a whole. The absolute best remedy against bullying is to support children to be more tolerant, and help create positive children's communities. As an adult, you are an important guide and role model in children's social lives. Whether you are a parent, an educator, or someone who helps out with children's activities. You can make a big difference in preventing bullying if you proactively build and support the well-being and community spirit among children. And at the same time, encourage them all to be caring and to have the courage to stand up to exclusion and teasing when they witness it. And most importantly, never forget that bullying is the children's problem, but the adult's responsibility.
Okay, so what the video just showed we can also be explained by this vicious circle, as we call it, because when we try to understand why bullying occurs, we need to look at the insecurity in a community. And when insecurity arises, we start to feel whether we belong, whether we are accepted for who we are. And this social anxiety, you might call it, it creates this fear of social exclusion, and that's really an uncomfortable feeling. So trying to ease that pain, we need relief, and a way to do that is to create a new community, a community surrounded about negative things, but so saying that we don't want to be with you because you're like that or that. And that's kind of a production of contempt towards others. And when that begins, this insecurity in the community becomes even stronger. And then we can see that it can turn into violent and physical verbal bullying. So for us, this vicious circle is what we need to change, is what we need to stop. And the way to do that is to create safe communities.
And this is also a model which we work a lot with in Denmark, because harmful patterns as bullying are associated with low tolerance within the community. And therefore the best remedy against bullying is to create tolerant and inclusive children's communities where everyone feels safe and where everyone they feel like they belong to this community. The tolerance in the community is influenced by many factors, as you can see here. There's the history of the group. This includes the group's culture, the norms, the social patterns, which might have been affected by former incidences of bullying. Then there's also the children's personal history. This includes the backgrounds of the individual children. For example, a child might have attachment difficulties or bad experiences in connecting because of a change of school. Then there's the physical surroundings. Here we focus on whether there are opportunities for both quiet play and wild play. Do the children feel recognized in toys, books, and other things? So the physical surroundings also matters. Then there's the media use. This includes the types of media, such as movies, games, TV shows, and etc. And from these, children draw inspiration and norms. And of course, the social media, this also plays a role. The children may not have a user account yet, but they can be influenced of the usage of social media by the adults around them. Like, how do we use social media affects the children around us. And then there's the management. The management of the kindergarten or school are key culture bearers. How the management, for instance, handles conflicts and establishes the framework for collaboration has a high impact on the environment. How do we work together? How do teachers and pedagogues work together? How is the environment between the adults also affects the children? How do we talk to each other? How do we communicate? Do we have many conflicts? Then this is also something that has an effect on the children. Of course, the childcare professionals, like I just talked about. This also includes their view on the children. how do we see children? How do we understand development is also something that we have to look into. And then there's also the parents. Of course, the parents also influence the culture. The norms and the values that the children encounter at home, as well as how the parents encounter each other and the childcare professionals. How do the parents talk about the childcare professionals at home also have an effect on the children and the tolerance. So now let's just take a quick look at how what we focus on in Free of Bullying. Because we work with the management, we work with the childcare professionals and the parents, and we give them tools, the tools that they need in order to take responsibility for fostering a positive and safe community. And that doesn't mean that we don't work with all the others. Epson, we work with Epson, right? You work down there, you work with Epson. It's coming. But we also ask the childcare professional to focus on how are the physical surroundings and how can we organize the physical surroundings. We inspire them on how to make rules for media use. That's not a small topic, I know, but I'll just move on, and I think we can talk about it later then. We give them tools to strengthen the group as a whole. That's also very important. And finally, by using the program, the social emotional competence of the children are enhanced. So, as you can see, we intervene at several levels. Yes.
Okay, so a little more about the program. Free of Bullying is an early intervention developed for children aged 0 to 9 years old. So at least from Danish perspective, this is before bullying is at its highest level in Denmark. And we work to equip professionals with the tools and knowledge needed to promote well-being and prevent bullying. It's a value-based program, which means that the essence of working with Free of Bullying is to incorporate these 4 values into the routines and all the pedagogical practices. This also means that the program is not something you can do from 9 to 11 and do A, B, and C. It's more a way of approaching the children and a way of working with the environment among colleagues that affects how the whole environment is for both adults and children. The 4 values of the program is tolerance, respect, care, and courage. And these values are reflected in all the activities we have in the program. And our aim is for the childcare professionals to make these values and the focus on creating these tolerant communities a part of their everyday work. We give them materials that can inspire them on how to do that. But the most important thing is to say that you live and breathe these 4 values. And through that work, we see that children can acquire a set of values as well. And that's how we see that this really affects how the children are amongst each other as well. So, in order to work with the program, we give a childcare professional a basic course introducing them to the methods and the theory of the program. But then we also give them these specific tools that are quite hands-on and that can inspire their work and how to work with these values in their everyday life. And these tools goes from a range of physical activities, dialogue with children, touching, massage as we call it in Denmark, and working with Buddy Bear, which is the mascot of the program and also a character that really works well to talk amongst children and amongst adults and children about these values of the program.
So we work with nurseries, and at nurseries we focus on creating a secure attachment to the childcare professional through care and interactions. Only when the child feels safe, it's able to take part in the community. So the child have, first of all, to feel safe. And this is so important since it is their first experiences with communities outside the family. And also even the youngest children strive for friendships. Also the 1- and 2-year-olds, they strive for friendships. They might not have a language yet, but still they are friends. In their perspectives, they're friends. And we have to work with that and to make sure that they can get these friendships in the nurseries. Another strong focus is emotions. We work with labeling emotions and maybe even start to recognizing emotions in each other. So that's what we work with, the key focus areas when we work with nurseries. Then in kindergartens, more children are able to express themselves in words, and we start with children's meetings. That's what we call it. We call it children's meetings, where we hear their perspectives on what it means to be a good body. Letting the children put it into words. What is a good body for you? And then we can start acting more like being a body, and how can we be good bodies in this kindergartens. We also have a lot of activities such as peer massage, as Anne-Sophie just mentioned, and outdoor activities, so that children are introduced to the values in many different ways. Then there is our work in schools. In schools, it becomes even more important to integrate the work with creating a tolerant and safe community into the curriculum. So we don't just work with math and Danish. Of course we do that, work with the language, but we also all the time focus on how can we work with it in a good way. How can we work with it and still taking care of the community so that the children feel safe. Furthermore, we give a great focus on the big transition from kindergarten to school. That is a very big transition in Denmark and maybe also in your country, where they can feel very unsafe. They start in a new big school, and that we have to take care of that transition and make it as safe as possible. And that specific initiative is called Better Bodies. And the older children at the school helps the younger children when they start into the school.
Yeah. Okay, so let's share with you in 5 minutes just what we've learned throughout the years working with the program. Because the program has been implemented in different countries. It started in Denmark, but then we shared our experiences with other countries. And what we see across different countries with different cultures is working with these tools and working with the focus on these 4 values really can initiate this change in the culture so that we can enhance the focus on creating tolerant and inclusive children communities. Some places, like for instance in Romania, it's the very hands-on and easy-to-use approach that is appealing of the program. But then by working with the program, they also had the opportunity to discuss among each other and reflect upon the work with the values, and this has really changed both their view on children and how they want to approach working with the communities in their kindergartens. So in that way, the program really can help create this common language and understanding of what needs to be done. We have done several research on the program, and just to enhance some of the key learning is that it's so important for local management as well as parents to engage in this work. So when you want to create a tolerant community, it's not enough for one pedagogue to move forward and try to work with this. They need the support of management and the support of parents. And this is, of course, a big task, but something that is a big focus. And then, as with everything, change does not come in a day, and if you want to make a change, you have to work systematically and throughout years before you can really see how that manifests within the community of children. We did an impact study back in 2017, where we looked at specifically at the social emotional skills of children. And we saw that working with the program systematically has a positive effect on the social emotional skills. And this is especially on the children's ability to express their feelings and decode feelings of others. This is not the same as everything is done just by changing the social emotional skills of the children. For us, it's so important that the adults continue to take responsibility for the community surrounding the children so that the children has the opportunity to be the best version of themselves. Yeah. And as the program has been used across different countries, we learned that it's best implemented if you fit it into the curriculum or the local culture. This even applies for working with it in a specific kindergarten. You need to make the program something that's a part of the everyday life and not something you do at a specific time. But then we see that working with these values of the program is kind of universal, something that a lot of people can relate to. So in that way, we believe that this research from Denmark and this new view on bullying, or not that new anymore, this social turn in the view of bullying, has really helped us to identify a way to approach how to prevent bullying based on values that are relatable for many people and are doable as well in kindergartens, nurseries, and school. So, thank you for your time.